to look at our Torah portion for today, which is Lech, Lecha, Lech, Lecha. We'll look at the portion actually is Bereshit, chapter 12, verse 1, all the way through 17, verse 27. Lech, Lecha, what we are going to kind of highlight right now is Genesis chapter 12. Genesis chapter 12, verses 1 through 3. Genesis chapter 1, Genesis chapter 12, verse 1 through 3. Go ahead and read that for us.
And Yahweh said to Abram, go yourself out of your land, from your relatives, and from your father's house, to a land which I show you. And I shall make you a great nation, and bless you, and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. And I shall bless those who bless you, and curse him who curses you. And in you all the clans of the earth shall be blessed.
Okay, very good. So when you look at this Torah portion, which is Lecha, which would be, when we look at the verse 1 where it says, go yourself out, that there is the phrase Lecha. Lecha. Do we have our oh man, we don't got a dry erase. We don't got nothing. We don't got our TV messed up. We don't got no dry erase marker. The world coming to. So when we look at this word here, this phrase Lecha, which is to go yourself out, it is the command that the Most High commanded for Avram. This is the demand that the Most High put on Avram. And if he did that, if he did what was asked of him, to go yourself out of your land, from your relatives, from your father's house, to a land which I show you, then verse 2 and 3 is the things that was going to happen as a result of his obedience. Right? It is this covenant that the Most High would make with Avram. And so it's interesting when we look at Avram, who is the original faith walker. He is the father of our faith. He became a father of many nations. It's interesting when we look at Yeshua, when he calls his disciples in the same way that the Most High calls Avram. He calls his disciples and he calls out to them and says, follow me. When the Most High called out to Avram, he said, get up and go to this place that I show you. But he didn't really know what the place was. Abraham didn't. Avram didn't know what the place was. So he was called to step out in faith. He said, the Most High said to Avram, step out in faith and I will bless you. If you put your unwavering trust in me and go to this place that you've never been to, and do some things that you've never done before, that you don't even know, you potentially don't even know what those things are, If you go and do that, what I'm telling you, then I'll bless you. Just get up and go. And, this is Avram for us, really is a picture of our relationship with Messiah, our relationship with the Father through Messiah, our walk in faith. We don't always have all of the answers. We don't always have the Google Maps. Sometimes we on the journey and you get to a place that don't got no service, and you still got to get there, even though you don't necessarily know which turn to make. The Most High said to Avram, get up and go to this place that I'll show you. Now, I know people who I'm pretty sure in this situation, they would be like, well, I'll go, but where exactly is this place at? I'm ready to go, but how do I get there? I promise I'll get up and go, but just let me know exactly, turn by turn, where we going. But that's not what the Most High was asking of Moses here. He said, get up.
You mean Abraham?
Abraham, Avram, not even Abraham yet. Avram. He didn't even become the father of many nations yet. He's just exalted father at this point. Avram, get up and go. And that's what he did. And so for us, when we look at the example that's given to us through Avram, and if we think about it, the corresponding examples that we see in the scripture, this walk of faith is just that. Where if we got the whole plan figured out, is that exactly trusting in the Most High to do it? I mean, maybe it is, but I think it would be more trusting if we're able to know that the Most High said go somewhere, and just on the strength that we know that he's calling for us to do a particular thing, we don't necessarily got to have all of the things necessarily if he's saying for us to move forward. That adds for you an extra kind of sense of security when you have all of the things together.
I think about if I have all my plane ticket itineraries in my hand, and okay, I'm gonna get off this plane, I got this layover time, and I'm gonna get on this plane. But if it was you're gonna get there, and then I'll tell you where you're gonna go.
Right. That type of a situation that you're describing is not like a faith. That's not a faith walk.
You gotta understand it.
That's a different kind of a thing because you got everything right there. But when the Most High is saying that he's going to do X, Y, Z for you or through you, and you're trying to figure out how you're going to do it, whenever he is, ordaining for a thing to be done, it's moving into disobedience, lack of faith. He said without faith, it is impossible to please him. And so when we're not walking in faith, is that disobedience? Is that some type of transgression? When we're outside of faith, if we are able to get to the place where we hear from the Most High, and we know that he's calling for us to do this thing, whatever this thing may be, but we got to sit up here and figure out all the things. And so while we're figuring out, we're messing up the timing. What if Abraham was like, well, where are we going? He don't do that. When we look at the verse over here, what do it say? In Genesis, we read the 3. Read verse 4.
So Abram left, and Yahweh had commanded him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he set out from Haran.
So the key part there is just those first 3 words. So Avram left. That's what happened. He heard the call of the Most High, and he left. Again, when we look at the disciples, it's the exact same thing. They saw what it was that Messiah was doing. The opportunity presented itself in terms of them crossing paths with Messiah, and he says, "Follow me," and then they go. And so I'm saying we have these examples in Scripture where I'm saying it's one thing to say that you're not sure if this is the Most High's voice that you're hearing. Maybe you got to work that part out. But I'm saying if we get to the place where we know that this thing, whatever this thing is coming from the Most High, then action is required. Because faith is action. Because that's what happened. Right? That's what happened. The Most High put a demand on Avram, and his response was action. And so Avram left. And so he goes on this journey, which causes him to literally be the father of many nations. Right? Let's look over real quick before we go over to the rest of what we're going to talk about. Go over really quick over to Galatians chapter 3. 26 through 29.
Galatians 3:26. For you are all sons of Elohim through belief in Messiah Yeshua. For as many of you as were immersed into Messiah have put on Messiah. There is no Yehudi nor Greek. There is not slave nor free. There is not male and female. For you are all one in Messiah Yeshua. And if you are of Messiah, then you are the seed of Abraham and heirs according to promise.
Okay, very good. So when we think about this idea of putting on Messiah, this idea of emulating the faith walk that Avram initiated all the way back in Bereshit. When we get to that place in our lives, when we understand what it is that Messiah has done for us, and we take that step of action, that initial step of action, and are immersed into Messiah, then we are in fact the seed of Abraham and heirs according to the promise. But then we got to keep on stepping them, right? Because that's just the beginning. That's just the beginning. And so we have to continue. We have to continue in faith. The thing is begun by faith, but we have to then continue in faith, which is about action. All right, so does anybody have any thoughts about Genesis 12 through 3? Okay. Very good. So there is much to be said about Lecha. You can refer to the link that is in the description to look at all of the things that I had to say about Genesis chapter 12 or any of the other chapters 12 through 17 previously.